Kirks is sustained. We appreciate you all. I'm Anna Paige, but I fucking know all of you, so that was unnecessary.
No, it's good. Get it out there. Remind them.
Thank you. And we're going to start with a new one. I wrote it after the 107-degree day and the crazy fires out in Red Lodge. So it's called Salt or Soil. Am I good? 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 Cherry tree we planted dropped its green fruit on June 22nd. In the morning calm, before 107 degrees, I pull weeds. There is no root to hold, just broken stalks giving milk to the sun. Bones ready to stalk the salmon. Trying to own the land, the pagan wildness of our bodies. For when we're able to move with all our sorrow held to the light, it is the self-same home from where we sowed bliss. Am I good? 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 It's Salt or Soil. Your poem about drought seems to be a theme lately. The way a man's cheek feels, weathered with a midday's growth, scratching gently against another, like a barrel cactus, filled to the belly, leaning towards the sun until it falls down, like my father reciting into a remote, what on earth? What on earth? What on earth again and again? My mother in a room away texting him instructions for me. In isolation, and I worried. It came in on my breath. Left my mouth like a backwards prayer. On day 3, she wakes, dizzy, vomiting. The sky drizzles rain on the drought. I pray before the sunset to slick streets, the first rain in hindsight open till 10 p.m. on Christmas. Jesus is at the register. That is a true story. He says my purchase of noodle, soup, ginger ale, saltines looks like a real good meal. I thank him for being there. Time and a half? I don't get paid to be at home. On her third vomit, placed the trash bucket next to her bed just as she would when I was a child. Breath pooling in my mask, father beside me navigating with his one good eye. Across the land of drought and golf courses, dropped limbs decaying, ingrained in the land. For how many droughts to shed a limb? It takes 75 just to begin one. How insignificantly knowing these 50 years of lawns with a desert burned. Tiny green limbs reach out, root systems deeply below the char. Everything in the desert is trying to kill you. It's hard to watch each night an isolated world of videos and scrolling the decay of the day abandoned, slowly collapses, like the way a man's cheek feels, weathered with midday growth. to face one another, the stillness of everything but you and me. Forgive me, my broken. Forgive me, my shadow. Forgive me, my fear. Forgive me. Let us grow tomatoes. Stay in bed too long. Linger on sidewalks until it's too cold to say goodbye. Let us carry dogs, good dogs, old dogs, our dogs to bed. Let our fingertips be everywhere, especially along coffee rims and morning light.
Very good.
Catching tears, the parts of my neck that remember your lips. Let us sleep. On floors, wake in sunlit tents, slip away on riverbanks to ask the rocks why they're wet. Let us speak our full names, feel the softness of your words as you speak mine. Reach for that space above your hips, tuck arms underneath yours and keep time with my heart. Randy Cliffs. I'd placed myself in the bottom of a deceased inland sea, one that still craved the source which carved its belly. This was my first winter with my adult self, a fishing net strung behind me from which I gutted dinners of 2 decades of unintended catches. My inability to deal with loneliness had created a chasm for which I was constantly trying to fill, wildness that I could not contain or soothe. Unlike trees responding to autumn, I'd left exposed my most vulnerable state, requiring intense attention to stay in summertime fables, having courted like bright bluebirds a springtime mate. He left suddenly, an inexhaustible hunger to die following him. He spoke a private language out loud of the darkness of pain. As winter approached, the sensitivities of nature heeded the call to retreat, to harden, and prepare for a predictable bitter cold. My sap continued to flow, the evergreen of my heart, ignoring all red flags. As if air were not enough to survive, as if the miracle of self was not enough to keep going. In the absence comes a wolfhound. It always feels too soon. An ex-racing greyhound who lived with me 5 years past his track life died in autumn. His illness was a mysterious one, a collaboration of his exhausted body and the misfortunes of medicine. Eventually, his body turned yellow. By the time his urine glowed orange, it was too late. He died in 12 hours, gasping next to me until he could not. The grave was deep, below the roots of the crabapple that strung across the hole like a strand of lights. The wolfhound teaches me body language. When the hip is cocked, when the ears are up, when the tail has released to the ground, I begin to look for things I didn't before, the movement of litter in trees, the quiet passerby 2 blocks down, the squirrels who are about to leap into the street. The flinching of an animal that was abused, the way he expects to be hit, it's a level of sadness I'm not yet aware exists within me. Yet I know what it's like to always be anticipating pain, grief, frustration. The darkness bubbles in me and I find myself sharp and short of time, of patience, short of everything that he needs to know that I am not going to hurt him. There's a beauty in routine I did not notice before, the persistence of sitting at gates or learning to calm oneself down before a reward. Ideally, good behavior is rewarded with freedom, the trainer advises. The first time I brush the wolfhound, it seems to surprise him, a kind of intimacy he's not yet understood. His bristle hair is matted, tangled under his front legs. Bunched spirals of hair hang from his jowls. He's wary, hanging his mouth half open, eyes pacing with each pass of the comb. I tried to explain flinching to a man I'd met on the internet. He moved quietly and gently near me as if I were an anxious dog about to bolt. Somewhere around date 3, he moved too fast, a poorly timed kiss, a head tucked into my armpit as if to say, hey, I hurt too. The PhD I obtained in red flags and controlling and abusive men was starting to pay off. In habit, I could see another way, another state where my flinches came with good reason. When you let a dog on your bed, even just a couple times a week, but you don't want them on the bed, how do you think they're going to react? This is a particular therapist that decides to put my dog training patterns in terms I can understand. Be consistent, otherwise he won't believe you when you say you're through. I tried to end this relationship on its 48th cycle, on his 48th cycle. He was born 3 days before the autumn equinox. That weekend, we visit his grandparents' grave, the town of his birth. He points out headstones with the same death years, just a month or two apart. It was common back then, he says. When one goes, the next follows. His grandmother, however, lived many years after his grandfather died. He says she asked him for a gun, but he declined. I should have gotten her a gun, he said. She wanted to die. He spots the first rough-legged hawk of the year, a sign winter is coming. They make long-range migrations from the Arctic. The real show, we're early. That night, we drink, we fight, we sleep. He reaches across the bed, places his hand between my shoulder blades, then turns away. I'm undone, sick for all the suffering and collective grief of these past months, all the sickness I've seen in people, all that it has done and what we've done to each other. We burn through one another, a rushing fire in a sparked forest in August. The brakes of the Missouri, thick, curved canyons winding like a bull snake before being struck on the road. It was looking for warmth and stretch. I contact COVID-19 sometime during the night of October 31st from a triangle of bars, a burn of peppermint shots and a dose of Molly. My therapist says it's okay, you did not tell him. By the time you were contagious, he was gone. In a perfect world, sure. You'd let him know, but it's unsafe. She assures you he's unsafe. Your feet ache where he last touched them, portals to your kidneys, liver, a heart gateway left gapping open like a summer cavern you explored together. The last time he touched you, your back to the floor, legs curled around his torso, his fingers inside you. The next day it was like you weren't even in your own body and you still didn't know he drugged you. After the virus is quieted in your body, it rests between your neural pathways, scrambling words you once could spell, dislodging carvings like whispers. The sips of beer your father would offer when you were young, in a glass from a freezer that left slips of ice rising to the malty top. The burning chemical of a home perm when you were 13, that bitter smell curling in the underside of an inhale. The yellowing bar of soap, square with a swan rising from its top, a sharply sweet smell your nana would wear that perfumed your mother's dresser drawers. Set among socks and cedar planks, that cigarette with no taste you still crave, but it's different now, no comfort in inhalation, just routine. The day he tried to return, you walked 10.833 miles trying to rid yourself of his words. It's best to remember, go fuck yourself, you rapey cunt. You were ugly on me from start to stop. I have no regrets, except going 5 months without a blowjob. You made me feel like a rapist of children for asking. I shouldn't have to punch you in the fucking face to get you to listen. They store winter along this folded landscape, awakened like weather, this changing season, this part of you that is the memory of him, a sliver you're working out. How your grief excited him like watching you swim. Breasts bare, legs cutting the water where you float, he sinks as though stones were placed in his pockets, helium balloons in yours. The first step over your threshold, he stumbled wasted on you. Your friends are for sale. I don't even like you. You just take what you want. You're rapey. I could have sex with anyone I want, any time I want. Now, it's just feeling the parts of you that are the memory of him. A sliver in your brain festering, working its way out. Thank you, everyone. We still won't know what will become after the snow. What quiet dances will give away. What weeping we will swallow. Creep. Have to creep.